Beetle cars refuse to die. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is just boomer nostalgia, I need you to check something right now. Pull up your car's odometer. What's the highest mileage you've ever seen on a car? 200,000. Now imagine seeing 3.2 million miles on the same engine. What I'm about to show you isn't just a list of reliable cars. It's evidence of a fundamental shift in how vehicles are designed. These 12 cars represent the last generation of vehicles built to last forever, before manufacturers discovered they could make more money by building cars that die on schedule. Every car on this list shares specific engineering principles that modern manufacturers have abandoned. They were overbuilt, simple, and designed by engineers who took pride in creating machines that would outlast their creators. Today's cars are designed by accountants who calculate exactly when components should fail to maximize replacement revenue. I'm counting down from the least impressive to the most shocking example of automotive immortality, and I'll give you the mechanics notes for each one, the real-world maintenance secrets that keep these cars running when everything else dies. 10. Volkswagen Beetle. Number 10 conquered the world through sheer simplicity, and it's still conquering it today. And the classic Volkswagen Beetle. This car's longevity comes from its brilliant simplicity and the massive global parts ecosystem that supports it. Beetles are still running in every corner of the world, often with millions of miles on original engines. The air-cooled flat-4 engine was nearly indestructible because it had so few components. No water pump, no radiator, no complex cooling system to fail. The engine ran hot by design, which actually helped it last longer by preventing carbon buildup. The Beetle's global production run lasted 65 years, but here's why that's actually the secret to its immortality. With over 21 million Beetles produced, parts availability is incredible. You can still buy new engine components, body panels, and interior parts. This massive production volume means economies of scale keep parts affordable and available. The simple construction means anyone can work on a Beetle. The engine comes out in 30 minutes with basic tools. Most repairs can be done roadside with minimal equipment. Mechanics note: valve adjustments every 3,000 miles are critical. The cooling system depends on proper fan belt tension and clean cooling fins. Oil changes every 2,500 miles with the correct viscosity oil will keep these engines running forever. 9. Peugeot 504. Number 9 earned the title Africa's Workhorse, and there's a reason it's still working decades later. The Peugeot 504, produced from 1968 to 2006 globally. This car earned the nickname Africa's Workhorse because it could handle the worst roads and conditions on Earth while requiring minimal maintenance. The 504's secret was its incredibly robust suspension system with long travel and simple, serviceable components. The car could absorb massive impacts that would destroy modern vehicles. The engines were understressed and designed for low-octane fuel. Production ran for nearly 40 years in various countries, but the African market versions reveal the true engineering philosophy behind this immortal car. In Africa, where parts availability and service infrastructure were limited, the 504 had to be bulletproof. Peugeot engineered it with massive safety margins and simple, repairable components. The result was a car that could run for decades with basic maintenance. The diesel versions were particularly legendary, with many examples exceeding 500,000 miles in taxi service. The engines were so robust that rebuilds often revealed minimal wear even at high mileages. Mechanics note the hydraulic system for suspension and brakes needs attention every 100,000 miles. Use only LHM fluid, never substitute. The timing chain should be replaced every 150,000 miles preventively. 8. Mercedes-Benz W124. Number 8 represents the peak of German over-engineering, when Mercedes built cars like they were going to last forever. The Mercedes-Benz W124, produced from 1985 to 1995. This generation of E-Class was documented reaching 600,000 to 1 million kilometers in taxi service, proving that luxury and longevity could coexist. The W124 was the last Mercedes built under the old philosophy of over-engineering everything. Every component was designed to last twice as long as necessary. The engines were massively robust, the transmissions were bulletproof, and the build quality was exceptional. Mercedes spent over $1 billion developing the W124, but here's why they'll never spend that much on durability again. The development process included testing prototypes for millions of miles in the harshest conditions worldwide. Mercedes engineers were were given unlimited budgets to ensure every component would last. The result was a car that was almost too good. Owners kept them for decades instead of buying new ones. The diesel versions, particularly the 300D, were legendary for their longevity. Many examples exceeded 500,000 miles with only routine maintenance. The OM603 engine was so robust that it's still sought after for swaps into other vehicles. Mechanics note: the engine wiring harness degrades after 20 years and should be replaced preventively. The climate control system has vacuum leaks that cause erratic operation. Service the transmission every 100,000 miles despite Mercedes claiming it's lifetime fluid. 7. Ford Crown Victoria. Number 7 was America's last body-on-frame sedan, and police departments proved it was nearly indestructible. The Ford Crown Victoria, produced from 1992 to 2011. This was America's last traditional full-size sedan, and its longevity was proven in the most demanding service possible: police and taxi duty. The Crown Vic's durability came from its old-school construction. Body-on-frame design meant the car could absorb massive impacts without structural damage. The 4.6-liter V8 was conservatively tuned and massively overbuilt for the power it produced. Police departments documented Crown Vics reaching 300,000 plus miles in pursuit duty. But here's what made them truly special in an age of disposable cars. The modular design meant everything was serviceable and replaceable. Police mechanics could rebuild these cars multiple times, replacing worn components while keeping the basic structure. Many police Crown Vics were rebuilt 2 to 3 times during their service life. The simplicity was key to longevity. Traditional hydraulic power steering, simple fuel injection, and robust automatic transmission meant fewer complex systems to fail. When something broke, it was usually obvious and fixable. Mechanics note: early 4.6-liter engines had plastic intake manifolds that cracked. Replaced with updated aluminum versions. The transmission cooler lines rust and should be inspected regularly. The air suspension on some models is problematic. Convert to conventional springs for reliability. 6. Honda Accord. Number 6 perfected the art of invisible reliability. It just works year after year without drama. The Honda Accord from the 1990s through 2010s. Consumer Reports consistently rated these among the most reliable vehicles ever built, with many examples easily exceeding 200,000 miles with routine maintenance. Honda's engineering philosophy during this era focused on conservative design and extensive testing. Every component was designed with huge safety margins. The engines were understressed, the transmissions were robust, and the build quality was exceptional. The secret to Honda's reliability wasn't just good engineering, it was their obsessive testing program that most manufacturers have abandoned. Honda tested prototypes for millions of miles before production, identifying and fixing potential failure points. They used conservative materials and designs that prioritized longevity over cost savings. The result was cars that aged gracefully and required minimal repairs. The manual transmission versions were particularly long-lived, with many examples exceeding 300,000 miles on original clutches. The automatic transmissions, while not as robust as the manuals, were still far more reliable than most competitors. Mechanics note: change transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, regardless of Honda's lifetime claims. The timing belt should be replaced every 105,000 miles, along with the water pump. Valve adjustments every 100,000 miles keep the engines running smoothly. 5. Toyota Corolla. Number 5 became the world's best-selling car by mastering one thing: refusing to brake. The Toyota Corolla from the 1990s through 2010s. This car achieved legendary status by being almost boringly reliable. Consumer Reports consistently ranks Corollas among the longest-lasting vehicles, with 200,000 plus miles being routine. The Corolla's longevity comes from Toyota's conservative engineering approach. Every component is designed to last far longer than necessary. The engines are understressed, the transmissions are simple and robust, and the electrical systems are bulletproof. Toyota's secret weapon wasn't advanced technology, it was their refusal to fix what wasn't broken, even when competitors were chasing the latest trends. While other manufacturers constantly redesigned their small cars, Toyota perfected the Corolla formula and stuck with it. They used proven technologies and refined them over decades rather than constantly introducing new unproven systems. The parts availability is exceptional due to the massive global production volume. Corollas are sold in nearly every country, creating economies of scale that keep parts affordable and available worldwide. Mechanics note: Oil changes every 5,000 miles with conventional oil will keep these engines running forever. The timing chain versions are more reliable than timing belt engines. Replace the PCV valve every 100,000 miles to prevent oil consumption issues. 4. Toyota Camry. Number 4 dominated America's roads by being the most reliable family car ever built, and the numbers prove it. The Toyota Camry from the 1990s through 2000s. Consumer Reports regularly cited these as 200,000 plus mile survivors, and for good reason. The Camry perfected the balance between comfort, performance, and legendary Toyota reliability. The key to Camry longevity was Toyota's obsessive attention to detail in the engineering phase. Every component was tested to destruction, then redesigned to last even longer. The engines were massively overbuilt for their power output. The 2.2-liter four-cylinder engine in these Camrys was so reliable that Toyota barely changed it for over a decade, because perfection doesn't need improvement. This engine featured an iron block with aluminum head, conservative timing, and robust internal components. Many examples exceeded 300,000 miles without major engine work. The automatic transmissions were equally robust, with proper maintenance extending their life indefinitely. The build quality was exceptional for a mass-market vehicle. Panel gaps were tight, paint quality was excellent, and interior materials aged well. These cars looked and felt solid even at high mileages. Mechanics note, the timing belt should be replaced every 90,000 miles along with the water pump. Transmission fluid changes every 60,000 miles are critical despite Toyota's claims. The power steering pump can leak onto the alternator. Inspect regularly. 3. Lexus LS400. Number 3 was engineered with no expense spared, and the million-mile examples prove it worked. The Lexus LS400 from 1990 to 1997. This car was Toyota's declaration of war against German luxury cars, and they engineered it to be absolutely bulletproof. Multiple examples have exceeded 1 million miles, including Matt Farah's famous million-mile LS400. The LS400 was developed with an unlimited budget and a mandate to create the most reliable luxury car ever built. Toyota spent 6 years and over $1 billion developing this car, testing prototypes for millions of miles in every conceivable condition. The 1UZFE V8 engine was so over-engineered that it's still considered one of the most reliable engines ever built. Here's why modern engines can't match it. The 1UZFE featured forged internals, conservative timing, and massive safety margins. The engine was designed to run 500,000 miles without major service. The automatic transmission was equally robust, with many examples never requiring rebuilds even at extreme mileages. Every component was designed for longevity. The electrical systems were bulletproof, the suspension components were massively overbuilt, and even the interior materials were designed to last decades without wear. Mechanics note, the power steering pump commonly leaks onto the alternator, causing electrical issues. Replace both preventively around 150,000 miles. The timing belt should be changed every 90,000 miles. Use only Toyota transmission fluid. Substitutes cause shifting problems. 2. Volvo 240. Number 2 became the ultimate survival machine through Swedish engineering obsessed with safety and durability. The Volvo 240, produced from 1974 to 1993. This car achieved legendary status for its combination of safety and longevity. Their red block engines are famous for running 300,000 plus miles with basic maintenance, and parts support remains excellent decades later. The 240's durability came from Volvo's engineering philosophy during this era. Every component was overbuilt and designed for Swedish winters and high mileage driving. The engines were conservatively tuned and featured robust internal components. Haggerty calls the 240 simple and reliable, but here's the engineering secret that made it nearly indestructible. The B230F engine featured an iron block and head with simple fuel injection and robust internals. The design was so successful that Volvo barely changed it for nearly 20 years. The manual transmissions were bulletproof, and even the automatic transmissions were more reliable than most competitors. The electrical systems were simple and robust, using high-quality components that lasted decades. The body construction was massively overbuilt, with thick steel and excellent corrosion protection that kept these cars solid even in harsh climates. Mechanics note, the flame trap PCV system should be cleaned every 50,000 miles to prevent oil leaks. The overdrive relay commonly fails but is easily replaceable. Use 15 W40 oil in high mileage engines to maintain oil pressure. 1. Mercedes-Benz W123. Number 1 is the ultimate immortal car. Taxi fleets proved these could run 500,000 plus kilometers and still be profitable. The Mercedes-Benz W123, produced from 1976 to 1985. This is the ultimate example of automotive longevity. Taxi fleets worldwide documented these cars reaching 500,000 plus kilometers regularly, with many examples exceeding 1 million kilometers in commercial service. The W123 was built during Mercedes' golden age of over-engineering. Every component was designed to last twice as long as necessary. The famous OM617 diesel engine was so robust that many are still running today with minimal wear after decades of service. These cars were so well built that Mercedes had to deliberately make them less durable in later generations because customers weren't buying new cars often enough. The OM617 5-cylinder diesel was legendary for its longevity. The engine featured a cast iron block and head, mechanical fuel injection, and conservative tuning. Many examples exceeded 500,000 miles without major engine work. The manual transmissions were equally robust. The build quality was exceptional. Panel gaps were perfect, paint quality was excellent, and interior materials were designed to last decades. These cars aged gracefully and maintained their solid feel even at extreme mileages. Mechanics note, rust is the biggest enemy, especially around wheel wells and door frames. The vacuum system for door locks and climate control develops leaks over time. Inspect and replace lines preventively. The fuel injection pump should be serviced every 100,000 miles by a specialist. The secret principle. Now let me reveal the one design principle that all these immortal cars share and why modern manufacturers refuse to use it. After analyzing all these immortal cars, one principle emerges that explains their longevity. They were all massively over-engineered for their intended purpose. Every component was designed to handle far more stress than it would ever encounter in normal use. This over-engineering wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate philosophy that modern manufacturers have completely abandoned for one simple reason. The engineers who designed these cars took pride in creating machines that would outlast their creators. They used safety factors of 2 to 3 times the expected loads. If a component needed to handle 100 units of stress, they designed it to handle 300 units. Modern cars are designed with minimal safety factors to reduce costs and weight. Computer modeling allows manufacturers to design components that will last exactly as long as the warranty period, then fail predictably to generate replacement revenue. The shift from over-engineering to planned obsolescence happened in the 1990s, and internal documents prove it was deliberate. These immortal cars also shared simple, proven technologies rather than cutting-edge systems. They used mechanical components that could be serviced and repaired rather than electronic systems that required replacement. This simplicity was key to their longevity. Why modern cars can't match them? Modern manufacturers have abandoned the over-engineering principle for several reasons, none of which benefit consumers. First, planned obsolescence is more profitable than building cars that last forever. If cars never break, manufacturers can't sell parts and service. Computer modeling now allows manufacturers to engineer failure points precisely. They know exactly when components will fail and design them accordingly. Second, environmental regulations force manufacturers to prioritize weight reduction over durability. Lighter components often mean less robust components. Third, cost pressures from global competition force manufacturers to eliminate unnecessary durability. The complexity of modern cars also works against longevity. Electronic systems that control everything from engines to door locks create multiple failure points that didn't exist in simpler cars. When these systems fail, they often require complete replacement rather than repair. The average modern car has over 100 electronic control units, each one a potential failure point that could disable the entire vehicle. Modern manufacturing techniques also prioritize initial quality over long-term durability. Cars are designed to feel solid and refined when new, but the materials and construction methods don't age well. Plastic components replace metal ones, and adhesives replace mechanical fasteners. Lessons for today's car buyers. While modern cars can't match the longevity of these classics, some principles still apply. Look for vehicles with naturally aspirated engines rather than turbocharged ones. Turbochargers add complexity and stress that reduces longevity. Choose manual transmissions over automatics when possible, and avoid continuously variable transmissions entirely. They're designed to fail. Avoid vehicles with excessive electronic complexity. Cars with traditional mechanical systems for climate control, steering, and braking will last longer than those with electronic replacements. Simple is still better for longevity. Choose manufacturers that still prioritize durability over cutting-edge technology. Toyota and Honda continue to use conservative engineering approaches that favor longevity. Avoid luxury brands that prioritize features over reliability. These 12 cars prove that automotive immortality is possible when engineers prioritize durability over profit margins. They represent the last generation of vehicles built to last forever, before manufacturers discovered that planned obsolescence was more profitable than customer satisfaction. The engineering principles that made these cars immortal, over-engineering, simplicity, and conservative design, have been abandoned by modern manufacturers in favor of planned obsolescence and maximum profitability. But here's the most important lesson: understanding these principles can help you choose modern cars that might actually last. What's most tragic is that we have the technology to build cars even more durable than these classics, but manufacturers choose not to because immortal cars don't generate ongoing revenue streams. Here's what I need you to do right now. First, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because I'm exposing automotive industry secrets every week. YouTube's algorithm tries to suppress content that reveals how manufacturers manipulate consumers, so subscribing is the only way to stay informed about these tactics. Second, share this video with anyone who's ever wondered why their modern car needs constant repairs while their neighbor's 30-year-old Toyota just keeps running. They need to understand that this isn't coincidence. It's deliberate engineering philosophy. Third, leave a comment telling me which of these immortal cars you've owned or experienced. I want to hear your real-world stories about vehicles that refuse to die and any maintenance tips you've learned from keeping old cars running. Fourth, if you want to see how modern manufacturers engineer failure into their vehicles, watch my next video about the engine that was designed to fail at 100,000 miles. I'll show you internal documents that prove manufacturers calculate exactly when components should break to maximize replacement revenue. And finally, if you're shopping for a car right now, remember these lessons. Choose simplicity over complexity, proven technology over cutting-edge features, and manufacturers with reputations for durability over those chasing the latest trends. Don't let manufacturers fool you into thinking that constant repairs and replacements are normal. These 12 cars prove that automotive immortality is possible. We just have to demand it from manufacturers who would rather sell you a new car every few years than build one that lasts forever. Subscribe now, and let's keep the spirit of these immortal machines alive by demanding better from today's automotive industry.